Okay, so this is a trig unit where we're going to learn how to do trig in the form of graphing. So not the trig that we did before with triangles. Okay, this is going to be trigs with equations, so different kind of trig. So the first topic is, well, what is a reference angle? Okay, so here's what we know about reference angles. They're always, and I'm going to write this math word called acute. Do you know what an angle is if it's acute? Smaller than 90. So it has to be something, well, I guess acute or equal to 90, but usually it's acute. It's always positive. And it's always to the closest x-axis. Okay, when we draw angles, it's kind of like a clock. Okay, angles like thinking about a clock, except that we don't start like a clock. This is the starting spot. Okay, and when we rotate actually counterclockwise. Okay, so we're going to be starting here, and then we're going to work our way that way. How many degrees are in a whole circle? 360. How many are in a half circle? 180. How much is a quarter of a circle worth? 90. Okay. Where would 108 degrees rotate? So put your pen here, that you're starting here. Tell me when to kind of stop my rotation. Okay, so I rotated that much. Okay, and I learned that this is 90, so I should go a little bit past 90 probably, right? That kind of makes sense. And then I'm going to draw it kind of like a minute hand to show you that that hand rotated like that. Okay, the next, we're going to go back. We're going to get the reference angle, but I'll go back. Let's just draw these four. So negative 125. What do you think I'm going to do different on this drawing because of the negative symbol? I'm going to go a rotation this direction. So thinking about this direction, where are you going to go all the way to 125 degrees, that rotation? So 90, I think I would be about right there. Does that make sense? 125 degrees. Okay, so negative is going down on that. Okay, let's go to number 4, and then I'll do this one last. So 226. Okay, so I know if I rotate here, that's 90. 180. What would be the next big number? 270. Well, that's too big. So 226 would be like that. 180 plus, that'd be 46 more degrees. Okay, last one here, we skipped it, but what is going on with 400 degrees? It's already bigger than a whole circle, right? So I'm going to go 400 subtract 360. Anybody know what that is with mental math? 40 degrees. So this angle means, pretend like you're a skier or a skateboarder, right? You're going to rotate 400 degrees. So that means to go a full circle, then 40 more. Does that make sense when you're rotating? Okay, 400 is a full circle, 40 more. Okay, now that we're done drawing, we're going to do what is their reference angle. We got to answer that. Okay, so the reference angle is this. How far am I to the closest x-axis? So if I'm talking about this angle, which x-axis am I closer to? This on the right or this on the left? I'm closer to this one. So can you help me figure out what's the distance in that zone right there? So this distance between here and here is 108. What is left in this zone? Does anybody know what this number or just flat here would be? 180. So if I did 180 subtract 108, would that make sense to you? What's left in that zone? So that would be 72 degrees. Okay, it's smaller than 90 to the closest x-axis, and it's positive. Okay, number 2. So where I am, how much distance is there between where I am and the closest x-axis? So that's this zone. How much space is there in there? And you have to answer it with a positive angle. So all I'm doing is this. The full 180 subtract the 125 is leaving me with 55 degrees. Okay. Number 3, how much space is there from here to this closest x-axis? How much space is there in that zone? 40 degrees. Okay, no math. Just 40 degrees from there. Okay, and the last one. So how much distance is there right in that zone? So this one you'll have to do a little bit different math. You're going to have to take all of this and then you're going to have to subtract 180. Leaves you with that. Does that make sense visually? All of it minus the 180 leaves you with that. So 226 minus 180 leaves you with a 46-degree angle in that zone. Okay. Do you know what your quadrants are? So this quadrant is the first quadrant. Then you rotate. So then this is the second quadrant. Then this is the third. And then this is the fourth. Okay, because that's how we rotate. Okay, so this is our, remember, our start. Okay, so that's always going to be the pattern. And now that we're going to do trig, we're going to put these letters. ASTC. So you're going to hear that a million times from me. This is a big concept that's going to keep going all the way to grade 12. ASTC. So what does this mean? So the A means all trig are positive. So here is what I want to test. Can you give me an angle that would fall in this zone? Just any random angle. 45, something like that? Okay, so in my calculator, well, first of all, I'm in degree mode, so that's good. If I do the sine of 45, that, whatever it is, it's positive. If I do the cos of 45, positive. If I do the tan of 45, positive. They all came out positive. Okay? In the S quadrant, it means sine is positive. Okay? If you want to write, do you want me to write? Cos is negative, tan is negative. Okay? Sine is the only positive one. If you want to write that, you can. I'm not going to. It just means sine is positive. All the other stuff is negative. So if you want to write that, you can. Okay, can we think of a number that's in that zone? In quadrant 2, give me something that's between here and here. What kind of angle would be in there? This is 90 and this is 180, so what's something? 120 degrees. Okay, here's my test. Sine of 120, positive. Cos of 120, negative. Tan of 120, negative. Okay, and that will always work. Okay, the T quadrant, quadrant 3, tan is positive. That's what the T is. So, in other words, if you did the sine of something, it'd be negative. The cos of something would also be negative then, right? Something in that quadrant would be anything between 180 and 270. Can you run a test? Make your own test. Pick something between 180 and 270. Do your own test. Does this work? So if you picked 200 degrees, does it come out true? Okay, the C stands for cos is positive. So if the cos is positive, sine would be negative and tan would be negative. Okay, so this needs to be memorized, and if you want to think about those letters, this is something silly. All soup turns cold. Okay, if that helps you remember. All soup turns cold. Okay, so if you forget it, try to remember that little jingle. All soup turns cold. ASTC. Okay, if I had the angle 200 degrees, so do you know where 200 degrees just is? If you were to place it somewhere, it would be there, right? It'd be farther than 180. If you did the sine of it, would it be positive or negative? Negative. if you did the cos of it, what do you think? The cos of it? Negative. And if you did the tan of it, it would be positive. Okay. I'm going to get you to do a little cheat sheet thing on the side here. Okay, let's talk about cos. There's always going to be two quadrants where it's positive and two where it's negative. Where is cos positive? In the all, it's positive, and in the C. So where is cos negative? On the left. So cos splits left and right. Okay, let's talk about the sine. Where is sine positive? Which two? There's always 2 and 2. Which 2 is sine positive? The top 2. Therefore, where is sine negative? So sine splits up top and bottom. Okay, this helps just to make it faster, but where is tan positive? In the A and the T. So positive. So therefore it's negative. So tan splits diagonally. Okay, that's just a little bit of a cheat sheet to help you do it faster. Okay, so here's the next. Where is sine positive? Do we know that symbol means bigger than 0? Where is sine positive? So let's put some check marks. Where is sine positive? Do you remember what we did? We kind of wrote it over here on our cheat sheet. Sine is positive. Check mark in the top. And where is cos? What does this mean? Negative. Which 2 quadrants is cos negative in? The left. So which quadrant works for both? Quadrant number 2. Okay, where is the tan negative? So that would be in 2 and 4. We wrote that tan was negative. Where is sine negative? Sine was negative in the bottoms. So which quadrant are they both working? Do you remember that number? That would be in quadrant 4. Okay, number 3 says where's cos positive and sine positive? Where can 2 things be positive? There's only one spot where that can happen. Quadrant 1 is the only quadrant where 2 things could even be positive. Okay, you can go through the same process, but that's also what you can do. All right, last one. Ready? Where's tan positive? So 1 and 3. And sine also has to be negative. So then that is 3 and 4. So where are both things happening? In quadrant 3.